Yeah. I'm Ezra Levant. It's June 1st, and you're watching Battleground. Just turned on my earphone. I didn't know we were live there, folks. I'm glad you're joining us. Thank you. My name is Ezra Levant. I'm the president of TheRebel.media. We're based in Canada, but we have viewers around the world, and we have talent around the world. And for 1 year, our friend Tommy Robinson was our UK star. He did over 100 videos for us, leaving this spring to go independent. It was an amicable parting of the ways, and we obviously support his journalism and his ideology. Namely, speaking truth to power, talking about things that the establishment does not want talked about. We constantly were fighting the tension between letting Tommy be Tommy and protecting him from the risks of that. In my mind, there were always two risks: the risks to his physical safety, being attacked by a would-be jihadist, and also the legal risks. He was always being watched extremely closely, and I would put it to you with a malicious bias, by the authorities who would rather deal with him. He was inconvenient. They would rather lock him up than lock up the thousands of Muslim rape gangs in the country. I have news for you today. I have news in the form of video. Video taken outside the courthouse in Leeds, UK, where Tommy was arrested for videoing outside the courthouse. I'll get into that in a minute, but first, before I do, let me explain what we do here every day at 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. UK time. That's 9 a.m. on the west coast of North America. We do what's called a super chat. That's an invention by Google and YouTube. It allows me to talk to you live. I'm live right now. And you can make comments in the right-hand panel there. And as you can see, there's so many comments. I can't possibly see them all while talking to you in a meaningful way. But if you want your comment to stand out, you can make it in bright colors. That's called a super chat. It costs a few bucks, but I'm happy to say the money comes to us in the form of ad revenue. So it's a way to help keep the lights on here at The Rebel. I'm going to read a couple of super chats that have come in immediately, and then I'm going to play for you 7 video clips that were given to me last night by a viewer, by someone who's been watching these shows, and they sent me an email to Ezra@TheRebel.media, and I clicked and I thought, my God, she's right. And I followed up on the research last night that she was doing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me give you the courtesy of reading the super chats from folks who chipped in. Thank you for that. Craig McDonald said, I think Trudeau severed all other pipelines, but Trans Mountain expansion on purpose in order to have control over Canada's only pipeline to Tidewater. Do you think Trudeau, Notley, Horgan manufactured the pipeline crisis? Craig, that's a great question, and it's probably one that confuses our international viewers because it's a domestic question about oil pipeline capacity. In short, my answer is no. I don't think that this was planned. I think that gives too much credit to Trudeau. I think they're genuinely against all pipelines. But they realize that that's becoming a larger issue, both economically, in terms of Canada's business reputation, and politically. And this $4.5 billion is just kicking the can down the road to get Rachel Notley elected and Trudeau reelected. That's my theory. UK for Brexit, better out. 2 pounds says, cheers for your support, Rebel. Well, thanks very much. Speaking of the UK, we had a full hour or 45-minute interview with Gerard Batten, the new leader of the UK Independence Party, UKIP. And that was for our paywall subscribers yesterday, but I'm actually going to email an unlocked version of that to our 152,000 supporters in the UK. I think I see one more super chat before I get into the heart of the matter. And for those of you who are super chatting, I promise I will come back to your comments later, but I have news today. Scott Jones, the actual journalist, didn't live stream it illegally. Well, thank you, Scott. That is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I see a comment from Loki Gamer. Any info on a parent-family visit cancellation? I have been in touch with the family this morning, and I understand that a visit has been scheduled for the lawyer today. I presume it has proceeded, but I have not followed up. Because of the time zones, I would hope and imagine that that visit did happen today. But as you point out, it was Gerard Batten himself who says the family's visit yesterday was canceled. All right, I'm going to take a break from the Super Chats because I want to show you what we have here today. Just to recap, last Friday, 7 days ago, Tommy Robinson was standing outside the Leeds County Court. There was a rape trial going on, not just any old rape trial, but a gang rape trial. 29 accused, of whom 27 were men, 2 were women. Almost all of them were Muslim. Many of them were named Mohammed. This is a fact that was published widely in the United Kingdom, including on the state broadcaster, the BBC. Tommy Robinson attended the trial on Friday, on its last day, the day of the verdict being rendered. In fact, some of the criminal accused were at court with their prison bags in case they were being sent away, had their toothbrush and whatnot in it. Tommy Robinson did not stand on court property. He did not call them convicts. He called them accused rapists. He did not even call them rapists, for example. He was careful where he stood. He was careful what he said. And he did not talk about any goings-on in the trial itself. How would he know? He wasn't in there. He gave a running commentary on the larger political phenomenon of rape gangs. And yet he was arrested by 7 police, thrown in the back of a police van, and hours later was sent to prison for 13 months. Just for those, I mean, I can't imagine people who are watching this now have not seen the arrest video. But let's play that arrest video just once. I have 7 new clips for you today, but I think it's actually a good idea to show this clip of Tommy last week because I want to remind you what the courthouse looks like. The actual street where Tommy was standing. Because I'm going to show you 7 other videos, little clips, from the same courthouse, from the same trial. Let's start with Tommy's video. This is last Friday.
The content of what I'm streaming, I'm being arrested for breach of the peace. Are you arresting him? Being arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah?
Do you understand what this is?
No, can you explain it again?
Arrest on suspicion causing a breach of the peace.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, officer? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I've been told that some of the police are doing the case.
Not at all, he's never said that.
That's the information I've got.
I'm inciting people. I'm inciting people.
His video
How have I incited people?
He hasn't.
This is free speech. This is where we're at. You're not even allowed to. Look at this.
Look how many people.
Man, what you try and hide? Do you know when you do this? More people.
The only sharp things are lighters. Just let them do this.
More people are going to watch this now than ever. This is ridiculous, lads. Do you feel right what you're doing it? I haven't said a word. In fact, someone laid their hand and assaulted me outside court.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people have swore at me and threatened me about my mother, and here I am being arrested for saying nothing.
I'm threatened to behead me.
I've done nothing.
You've not said anything about
What are they arresting you for, Tommy?
Breach of the peace. Apparently I'm inciting on my video. Can you please, George, get me a solicitor?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a suspended sentence, you see, so...
He has actually done nothing wrong.
You can sort anything like that.
That's the video. How's the buzzing? Is the buzzing down? Justin, can you give me any feedback? Is the buzzing okay? There's still a bit of buzzing there, folks. We're working on it. I want to let you know that. I'm sorry about that. I didn't notice that until I looked at the comments while that was playing. Is it good enough to proceed? All right. Thanks for your patience, folks. I'm sorry I was buzzing there. I didn't actually tell you any news there. I was giving a recap. I was explaining the reason why I was showing that old footage is because I'm going to show you 7 other video clips taken at the exact same place. I'm going to show you other video clips of other journalists, both citizen journalists and mainstream media, filming the same thing that Tommy filmed at the same courthouse, in fact, closer to the courthouse, in some cases on the stairs and the front patio or the front foyer of the courthouse, and saying not alleged rapist, accused rapist, but rapist, unlike Tommy's more careful wording, not implying that they were guilty before conviction. I'm going to show you 7 different clips of that. And the reason, in case you've missed it, that this is important is that only Tommy Robinson was arrested by 7 police. Only Tommy Robinson was held in contempt of court. and only Tommy Robinson was sent to prison for 13 months. Not these other people. I'm going to show you people who do not say alleged rapist, accused rapist, they say rapist. I'm going to show you people who really were causing a disturbance, and you can understand why, raping dozens of girls for years. Yeah, that's going to cause a disturbance when those rapists, those accused rapists come to trial. I'm going to show you people standing right up against the doors of the court. I'm going to show you cameras, both citizen cameras of the amateur sort, a cell phone, and I'm going to show you mainstream media, big TV cameras on tripods. And finally, I'm going to show you view counts, because these videos that were sent to me by a keen-eyed viewer were from YouTube. And you can see that these videos have thousands, and in some case, tens of thousands of views. And you'll note that the judge last week, who sentenced Tommy to prison for 13 months, claimed that it was the size of Tommy's audience that was a factor. I'm going to show you these videos in 1 minute, but I want to make clear why I'm showing them to you. I am not showing them to you so that these other journalists I'm about to show, these other citizen journalists, citizen activists, or mainstream media journalists, I'm not showing these to you so that they go to prison too, so that they're held in contempt of court too. I'm not looking for the standard to be all of these people should be jailed. The opposite. I'm looking to show to you what Tommy Robinson did was being done by many others. I'm just going to show you a few clips. And that he should not be sentenced to 13 months in prison. Just like the others who did the same thing were not sentenced. So let me set up this first clip. By chance, I know this man. I met him with Tommy. I actually mentioned his name on the show yesterday. His name is Mohan Singh. And once you meet him, you'll never forget him, because he's quite a sight to behold. He dresses in traditional Sikh garb. He carries a sword. You don't forget meeting a guy like that. And he is a Sikh version of Tommy Robinson. What can I say? Other than fashion sense, the guys are actually very similar in their focus, in their language. This guy Mohan Singh, he leads something called the Sikh Awareness Society, because, as I have alluded before, the vast majority of young girls targeted by these Muslim rape gangs are white British girls. But these Muslim rape gangs also target Sikh girls. Sikhism, as you know, is a different religion from Islam. They are usually brown-skinned people, so they're not white British, but Sikhs are British like anyone else can be. Muslim rape gangs target white British girls, and to an extent they target Sikh girls. They do not target Muslim girls. Mohan Singh is deeply concerned about this the same way Tommy Robinson is. Mohan Singh has also engaged in citizen journalism like Tommy Robinson has. And I say again, my goal here is not for Mohan Singh to get into contempt of court trouble. It's the opposite. It's to show the irregular, erratic, selective application of justice, the irregular, erratic outrage by the judge. Do you have the picture of the judge staring down from the courthouse? Let's show that before I show these clips. Remember what happened on Friday. The judge in the case in Leeds heard from some court police that Tommy was outside. And I say again, it wasn't a fuss. The fuss only came when the seven cops came to arrest him. It was Tommy by himself. It was Tommy by himself looking in his cell phone video for 70 minutes, just chatting. The judge looked down and said, "Oh, it's Tommy Robinson, eh? Well, arrest him and bring him to me." Surely that same judge would have seen the hullabaloo outside the court on these video clips I'm about to show you, some of which have dozens of people. There's the judge. There's the judge looking down from the Leeds County Court at Tommy and surely saying, "Bring him to me." All right, without further ado, we've got 1,285 folks watching now. I think it's time to show you the news. I'm going to play a 2-minute clip of Mohan Singh. And I'm going to play it with the little, you can take that image down now. I'm going to play you a 2-minute clip of Mohan Singh, and it's going to start with his little intro graphics. And I've kept those in there. And there's a little music, and there's some, I think it's I think the language is Punjabi. I think. I'm going to leave that in there so you know that this is a little bit produced. It's a citizen journalist. This is an official thing. Without further comment, look at these next 2 minutes.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satsang ji, we're outside Leeds Crown Court. ਆਪਾਂ ਲੀਡਸ ਕਰਾਊਨ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਖੜੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ 27 ਚਾਈਲਡ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰਾਇਲ preliminary hearing here. 27 child abusers are on trial here today at Leeds Crown Court, out of which 2 are women. Out of the 27, 2 are also from Punjabi background. So Satsangaji, these men took advantage of young and vulnerable young children. Children as young as 11. In our eyes, they're babies. They abused very, very young children for over a number of years. And the charges against them range from trafficking, rape, racially aggravated assault, supply of class A drugs, the heroin or cocaine, false imprisonment, child abduction, taking indecent images of children, extreme pornographic material, and actual bodily harm, abduction. These people have done things that you and me might never be able to imagine. ਕਿ ਸੋਚ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ.
All right, you see Mohan Singh. He's quite a character, isn't he? He cuts quite a figure. He had some language there, I think that was Punjabi, and then he switched into perfect English. And he basically said what Tommy said, but he was not as legally careful, was he? He did not say alleged or accused. He said they were rapists. And again, that's a common parlance if you're not legally careful. He had a camera. He had a big old microphone. So he wasn't just doing a little cell phone cam, was he? He had a big camera. And he said what they did. He said it was horrific. He described it. And he described it as a fact, not as an allegation. And I say again, I admire Mohan Singh. I had the pleasure of meeting him. Actually, I met him in Sunderland with Tommy when we went to meet Chelsea Wright, if you remember that case, Justice for Chelsea. I really like this Mohan Singh. But you see all the cops behind him? He was out there talking about the case without any of the niceties and the cares that Tommy took. You know how many views on this video last night when I first watched it? 32,941. We just played it again so the count's a little bit higher. 32,000 people saw this video. I just played the first 2 minutes for you. I'm going to play another. How's the buzzing, by the way? Is it better? I want to show the next 2 minutes and a half, because this is for those of you who know that Tommy Robinson read out the names of the accused from the BBC website. We'll take a look at Mohan Singh doing the exact same thing. Take a look.
ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, if I just give you a quick list of all the defendants here in this trial. Ajmer Singh Tariwal, Irfan Ahmed, Asif Basir, Zahid Hassan, Mansoor Hassan, Mohammed Khama. And these are all from Huddersfield. Mohammed Rizwan Aslam, Abdul Raham, Mohammed Asaf. And there's another Sikh, Raj Singh Barsan, Mansoor Akhtar, Naiz Ahmed, Mohammed Naim, Hamza Ali Salim, Wakas Mahmood, Navida Habib, Sanaz Akhtar Malik. He's 55. Can you imagine a 55-year-old abusing an 11-year-old child, Sasangaji? Nazrat Hussain, Sajid Hussain, Mohammed Ifraz, Fazil Nadeem, Muhammad Azim, Muhammad Imran Ibar, and Muhammad Saqib Rahil, he's from Dudley, Zubab Ahmed, Usman Khalid, Aleem Javed. You know, these people are ranging from the ages of 27 upwards, and the oldest is 55 in this trial, and the youngest victim is 11-year-old, and from 11 to 16, 17 they've been abusing these victims over a number of years, Sat Sangat Ji. And they've abused a lot of young people. 25 young people have come forward and put their sort of charges against them. These are filthy child abusers, Sat Sangat Ji, and I cannot understand why their community is not speaking up about it. I cannot understand. So if we don't speak up about something, then Sat Sangat Ji, are they aiding and abetting this crime? Are we aiding and abetting when we don't speak up? In my books, if you're silent about a crime like this, you are aiding and abetting the criminals. We're reporting on the behalf of SAS and the Akal channel, and we'll keep you updated with this case as it sort of carries on. So, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
I got to tell you, you change the accent a bit, you close your eyes. Those are the words Tommy says, except for Tommy, it's more careful. Tommy said alleged and accused. He read the names just like Tommy read the names. And how he ended there, we can't be silent. If you're silent, you're complicit. Have I not just shown you the Sikh version of Tommy Robinson? A little bit lower energy, a little bit older, a little bit calmer. Citizen journalist, you bet. He's got the tripod, he's got a bit of a boom mic there. He's got, a little bit of graphics, not quite as fancy as Tommy would do. He showed the images of the accused. He didn't even call them accused, he just called them rapists. And I say again, I'm not looking for Mohan Singh to be arrested for contempt of court. I love Mohan Singh. I had the pleasure of meeting him courtesy of Tommy. 32,000 people watched that video. Of course the judge knew it. Of course the cops saw it. You can't miss Mohan Singh. From that same video, now we're going to skip it. You should watch the whole video. You can find it in a second on YouTube. Go to the Sikh Awareness Society. They got a whole page of these. In fact, we're going to put in the description, we'll put the original link, so it'll be easy to find. You don't have to poke around on YouTube. Here's the third clip. This is about a minute and a half, and I show you this because so far Mohan Singh is pretty calm, right? Well, he wasn't alone there. Take a look when things get a bit rambunctious. Look.
We've got some more coming in there.
No, we haven't seen it. Touch you just to say bye.
There's another one coming into court. There's another one coming.
Smashing inside you, you little crap. Eddie, stop!
I'll talk politics in a second, but I'm filled with rage and sorrow. Why were they shouting pedo? Because, of course, they were raping girls as young as 11. And not just grab them off the street, rape them and flee. Rape them again and again and again and again. Turn them into rape slaves, which is a thing in the Quran. You should read it one day. You could read Tommy's version of the Quran. He took the Quran and he annotated it. He explained it. It's called Muhammad's Quran, best-selling book in the UK. Did you see Mohan Singh sort of join the group? Obviously, he was more restrained than some of the others. Remember when Tommy was picked up? I showed you the video about 15 minutes ago. They said that Tommy was causing a disturbance, breaching the peace. No, he wasn't, was he? Tommy was speaking in his indoors voice, as he would say, into his cell phone camera for 70 minutes by himself. Tommy didn't breach the peace. Is what you just saw there, would you call that a breach of the peace? I actually wouldn't. I would call it boisterous, but it never got out of hand, and I think it was proportionate, and I think it was appropriate, and the police obviously had things well under control. There was no attempt by anyone there to get physically violent. They just wanted to make themselves heard because dozens of young girls had been raped for years, and the men were finally, and 2 women were finally being brought to court. Why did I show you these 3 videos, or 4, I guess, 3? Actually, do we have an image of the view count? Can we show that? I just want to show you that final piece of evidence here. Do you see the view count? So this was published a year ago. Leeds Crown Court, 32,941 views. You see that? I've only shown you about 5 minutes of the video. It's 9 minutes and 30 seconds long. So that's Mohan Singh. So what did Mohan Singh, who I admire, do that Tommy didn't do? They both had cameras. Mohan Singh's camera was bigger and on a tripod, and he had a big microphone. They both named the accused, except for Tommy called them accused and Mohan called them rapists. I don't mind Mohan one bit because I think he's right. They both discussed the case in a political sense. That's right. The difference is there was a bit of a scene on this occasion, but not with Tommy. So who was arrested by 7 cops and who was sent to prison for 13 months? But it wasn't just Mohan Singh. I want to show you another video from January of this year. Can we show the video and the 10,000 views on it? This next video was posted on January 9th of this year, and you can see it has over 10,000 views, uploaded by someone named Mark Vernon. I assume he's a citizen journalist. And let's play the first clip. This is about 1.5 minutes, and we're going to freeze it because there's something I want to show you when we freeze it 3 minutes and 50 seconds in. So actually, I'm just going to play a 30-second clip. Freeze it at the last frame, please. What's that near the lamppost there in the center right? There's 2 big professional mainstream media TV cameras. Actually, play this same clip from the beginning again, because there's a moment where you can see it, I think, a little bit clearer. Just play that clip again. Thank you, Justin. Sorry to make demands of you on the fly. We're doing this. I don't plan these lunchtime shows. There. You see there on the left? There's at least 2 cameras on tripods. Those are not citizen journalists. Those cameras there are tens of thousands. They're out of the screen now, but there you go. It'll come back in a second. Those cameras are tens of thousands of dollars. Depends on when they were purchased. They might even be over $100,000. The tripods alone are over $1,000. Yeah, that is not citizen journalists. So what have we here? Same court, same trial, same building, covering the same case, but no legal consequences for them. And I don't want there to be, by the way. Play from this same video the clip of them chanting. Here's a 30-second clip of disturbing the peace. I don't know, compared to Tommy. Take a look.
Muslim freedom! Muslim freedom! Muslim freedom! Who's Jews? Us! Who's
Yeah, I've heard that chant before. It's an old chant. It's used by both the left and the right. I've heard Antifa use it, and I've heard the soccer right use it in the UK. Whose streets are streets? Whose streets are streets? Muslim pedos off our streets. You heard the chant. But it ain't true, is it? It's not the streets of the British people. They were on the street, but they are at bay. They are not represented in the halls of power, whether it's the press, the politicians, the police, the prosecutors, the professors. Sorry guys, it ain't your streets. In fact, when Tommy thought it was his street, he was arrested and thrown in prison for 13 months. This next 1-minute clip from this is again filmed on January 9th, same trial, same courthouse, same accused, lots of cops. Let me show you the police getting right in the thick of it to stop a breach of the peace. And I ask you again to compare this to Tommy Robinson, who was quiet, using his indoors voice, talking by himself into his cell phone, and how that was disturbing the peace, but this wasn't.
Off our street! Go on, show your face! Go on, cowards! Go on, you scum! Scum! Covering your faces up for? Eh? What are you protecting them for? That's what I want to know. What are you protecting them for? What for your kids? Don't stand near pedos!
Why are you protecting them? Well, the answer to that is because in the United Kingdom we have the rule of law. We don't believe in vigilante justice. We believe in innocent till proven guilty, just like we do in other civilized parts of the world. That's the real answer. The question wasn't actually literal. I think it was figurative. Why are you protecting them? Why is the whole society protecting them? The police, the press, the prosecution, the professors, all the fancy people. I think that's what he meant. I think that protester felt powerless. And Tommy gave not power, but at least a voice to the powerless. But the reason I showed you that clip, a clip that has been seen 10,000 times on YouTube, is to show you just how close that, I'm not going to call it a mob, that gaggle of protesters got right up against him, right up against the cops, right up against the doors of the court. They probably could have reached out and punched or touched an accused. No arrest there, and there should not have been. I mean, there was nothing worth a reason, no reason to arrest there. But Tommy was arrested. I have another video that I'll show you in a moment, but I have not talked about super chats in a while. And there's a bunch of them, and I want to read them because thank you for chipping into the super chats. That's helps us pay the bills here at The Rebel. Amber Powell says, I think Katie was wrong on Tucker about Tommy. Katie said a number of things, so please clarify what you thought she was wrong about. Before I can respond, I think I need some clarity on what you mean. Mark Hooker says, Ezra, 2,000 protesters in Leeds right now. Very interesting. I see rumors and tweets about a protest here, a protest there. I don't know who's organizing them, and I don't know what's wishful thinking and what's actually being planned. Sometimes it's possible to get a group of people to organically show up at a protest easily. Other times it takes a lot of muscle to organize. So that would be quite something to have 2,000 protesters in Leeds. I would guess that would need some organizational muscle. Maybe it's Tommy's friends who have stood by him in many other ways. But if that's true, I'd like some footage of that, and we'll certainly talk about it next week. Ezra's First Irregular says, keep up the good work, Ezra. After chat open to all. Thank you. I'm just going to read a few more super chats. Stuart Oldfield, £10, says, our friends from our colonies, the English are so racist, we have so many friends in the world, must be racist. Well, that Mohan Singh, isn't he great? And isn't it ironic that someone who is not an indigenous Brit, he's a Sikh man, although I don't know enough about British accents. I don't know if he was born in the UK or just I don't know if he immigrated there. But you heard him, he's saying, how can we be silent? And although he's very focused on Sikhs, because Sikh girls are being targeted, he was at this trial where British girls were the victims as well. So isn't it something that Mohan Singh cares more about the well-being of Indigenous British girls than most Brits do? Darren Ward, is that video date stamped? Well, I think we're going to put the links to those YouTube videos in the underneath the video here. What's that called? The show more. Yeah, I see the links right there. So you can find the Sikh awareness video. Maybe we could put that other video, that Vernon video, under there too. Thank you. No rush on that. I have one more clip I'd like to show you. This is taken May 11th, 2017, or at least that's when it's uploaded. Same court, same trial, same defendants. This has 30,000 views, and I think it's just a quick clip. I think we just have 16 seconds. Take a look.
Coward! Dirty rapists! Then go and get your face, you scumbag!
If you actually go online to these YouTube videos, you'll see so many more YouTube videos, because you notice that a lot of the people there just have a little cell phone. Mohan Singh had a whole rig, right? He had a little bit of equipment. Normal people don't have that boom mic, or the big stick mic, I mean. They don't have a tripod. Like who has a tripod? You have to sort of be in the cameras to have that. But you might have seen there were some normal people with just little cell phones they filmed. I presume that's what this Mr. Vernon did. A lot of people there, a lot of videos on different days, cumulatively hundreds of thousands of views. And what's important to point out, and it's the point I'm trying to make with today's show, is that this was done with the full observation and at least passive approval of the police and the judge. There were a lot of police there. They did not react with any proactivity or any aggression to what happened. There were some shouts, pedophiles, rapists, Muslim pedos off our streets, whose streets, our streets. There were shouts, there were accusations, but the police felt it was all in hand, and they wanted to let people have their verbal say. The police did not touch anyone, did not push anyone, did not caution anyone, certainly did not arrest anyone, and absolutely did not take anyone before the judge for a contempt of court hearing to be sentenced for 13 months. And I put it to you, if you contrast this coverage by these other citizen journalists, and I mentioned Mohan Singh only because he, in so many ways, replicated what Tommy did and said, reading the names, making general political commentary, having an independent sort of citizen journalist media channel. Would you not agree with my contention that everyone I have shown you today, and there are many more videos out there, I just don't need to show you the same thing 10 times. Would you not agree with me that everyone I have just shown you has done everything Tommy did, but more loudly, more aggressively, more closely to the court, more closely to the accused, more brazenly, not saying alleged or accused rapists, saying they are actual rapists or pedophiles? Would you not say that what they have done is more of a breach of the peace than what Tommy did? And again, I say that nothing I observed here, in my mind, warrants a contempt of court conviction. And yet only Tommy was swept off the streets, hauled before the judge, and sent to prison for 13 months. The hearing was so quick that Tommy got it was shorter than the duration of his Facebook live stream. The judge did not even review the evidence upon which he sentenced. That's sort of like Alice in Wonderland. Verdict first, trial second. Yeah, you're guilty. Yeah, we don't even need to look at the evidence, Tommy, because you're Tommy Robinson. Maybe if Tommy Robinson was Sikh and had a couple of notches lower energy and was doing it in Punjabi, maybe Tommy wouldn't be in jail. I say again, I support Mohan Singh. Do you understand the point of today's show? The point of today's show is a little bit like the other day when I took you through other contempt of court convictions and sentences. We showed the page, I think it's judiciary.gov.uk, I'm going from memory. Very easy to find a list of every contempt of court ruling in the UK. It's a great website, very easy, very interesting reading. And I focused on two cases the other day, one in Salisbury when Jake Cook kept on breaking the same court order and not showing up, breaking his bail, and the judge said, oh, you're a good guy, you've broken the rules so many times, but you say you're getting your life back together because you're getting into the music business, so no jail time for you. And then the case of Aisha Ali Khan, the former pretty assistant to George Galloway, a UK politician. They're in litigation, 2 court orders limiting public discussion of it. Aisha Ali Khan doesn't control herself, breaches the 2 court orders not once, but 26 times. She was given time to prepare, time to hire excellent lawyers, go to court, and 26 breaches of 2 court orders. Yeah, she was ordered to do 12 weeks in jail, not 13 months. There's a lot more super chats coming in, so I'm going to catch up on those. I'm sorry, I felt like I wanted to put my evidence in front of you. Nick Hill. If they are jihadists raping children for submission, then to call them pedos is plain wrong. It's much, much worse. Well, it's not an allegation. It is a proven confession, testimony that many of these rape gangs do invoke Islam and the fact that the British indigenous girls they rape are infidels. And the fact that they target indigenous white British girls and Sikh girls, and they do it with an Islamic character, it's not a coincidence. And I have had the mixed blessing of meeting a Yazidi rape slave. She was in Germany. She had been raped, she told me. She lost count after 240 times, raped by Muslim jihadists in Syria, Iraq. So yeah, it's in the Quran, rape slavery. Tame Thing 1, real journalism from Rebel Media. Thank you, Ezra. Well, I appreciate that. These video clips came from a tip from a viewer. So I'm glad I read that email and took the time to watch the videos. Northern Jackalope says, this is why you never give up free speech or your freedoms. Make the UK great again and the socialist policy. Thanks, Ezra, for reporting this, sir. Well, you're welcome. What is the political stripe of the UK government today, though? Is it socialist? Is it left-wing? They call themselves conservatives. This has been going on for longer than the Conservatives have been in power. It's both under Labour and the Conservatives, and this has been going on in other countries too. And I fear it has a toehold here in Canada now too. It's not a partisan stripe, and I wouldn't even say it's an ideological stripe. One of the interesting things spending time with Tommy that I did, I don't know, I visited Tommy maybe half a dozen times, was that so many of his supporters would consider themselves traditional Labour voters. Sunderland is like a 100% Labour town almost. But they're British, right? They're left-wing, but they're British. And they are supporting Tommy. I don't think they would call themselves right-wing. They're the forgotten people. They're working-class Brits. They have been abandoned by those who claim to care about them. Kappa Dassau says, Tommy Robinson was lynched. A UK revolution is the only answer. Well, I think that it is not yet time to go to a revolution in the literal sense of that word. I think there are still instruments of peaceful power. And that's what we said the other day about freedom of speech. You know, the old saying, take away all my freedoms except freedom of speech, and with that I'll win the others back. That's why the press censorship is so odious. That's why the censorship on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google is so odious. They shut down Tommy on Twitter a few months ago. Why? When Tommy was with us, Facebook banned one of his accounts. Why? You don't have to follow Tommy on Twitter if you don't want. You don't have to follow him on Facebook. You don't want. So we have to use the tools at our disposal, the democratic legal tools at our disposal first. Amber Powell about Katie on Tucker says, it just seemed that she pushed the racist far-right MSM accusations, even acting like he was dumb. Well, and I think that's similar to what Nigel Farage said, and I disagree with that. Tommy is smart, and I'm not saying that as a compliment. He just is. You can be very bright without having formal schooling. In fact, these days, anyone who follows Professor Jordan Peterson or the state of modern academia knows that you can actually get dumber if you go to college with the wrong professors. Tommy is very clever. He seems well read to me. I don't know what he reads. His vocabulary is strong, and he salts and peppers it with lots of profanity. I learn a lot of funny words from Tommy, but he's no dummy. And those who say that he got in trouble because he was being dumb, watch his 70-minute live stream. He was thoughtful and careful. He always said accused and alleged. He minded where he was walking, and he didn't say anything that wasn't already in the public domain. It wasn't dumbness or stupidity that got him arrested. That's blaming the victim here, I think. Tom Youngjohn, the judge was biased against Tommy. I don't know if he was biased. Bias implies something, I think, more than we know. What we know is the judge did not review the whole tape. The judge did not let Tommy consult with a lawyer who knew his case. The judge did not allow Tommy to get an expert in contempt of court. And the judge was extremely hasty to take a man from the street to prison within hours. We know that. Now, whether it was motivated by personal frustration or bias, I do not know. But I believe it ought to be appealed. Are there any other super chats that I've missed? Let me scroll through. I think there's two more. Let me... Okay, might Rebel talk about Jada Franson too? I see that from V6. Jada Franson, I have met her once. She was the deputy leader of Britain First. She was also someone who tweeted 3 videos, and Donald Trump retweeted her, and that caused such an uproar in the UK about Jada Franson and Britain First, and Paul Golding, her partner, who was the president or leader. I don't know enough about Jada and Paul to vouch for them in the same way I can vouch for Tommy. But they were arrested and sentenced to prison for similar scrutiny of Muslims in the UK. I don't know enough about their case to comment on it substantively, but I do know that Paul Golding was attacked in prison by a Muslim extremist because, of course, British prisons are run by Muslim gangs. A couple more super chats. Stuart Oldfield, our friends from our... I've read that one already. Islamists use petrodollars to invest in corporate media and leftist political campaigns. They fund Soros as veiled proxy for fake philanthropies. Well, Soros certainly has enough of his own money. I think he's worth 14 billion or whatever. So he doesn't need petrodollars to invest in left-wing causes. But yeah, for sure. One of the largest investors in Twitter is Prince Al-Walid of Saudi Arabia. He has a very particular view on Islam, doesn't he? I would say he's frankly more liberal than many in Saudi Arabia. But make no mistake about it, the media in the West are so desperate for cash. A Saudi comes in and says, okay, I'll just skip the Rolls Royce this week. I'll skip the super yacht this month, and I'll buy myself a legacy newspaper from the West that has a century of reputation, but it's virtually bankrupt. I'll just buy that as a trinket, and I'll put it to my own service. Just checking to make sure I haven't missed any other super chats. If I have, I'm sure the team will bring it to my attention. Well, it's 12:49 already. Time certainly flies. I'm going to read a few more comments. I'm just going to check to make sure I've got through all my points here. You know what? Actually, until this week we were very busy talking about Tommy. I want to show you. And so normally what we do is we talk about other things. There was a question earlier about the Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline and Justin Trudeau. And I know I didn't do that question justice, but I just think I go on for too long about that on this show today, but I will come back to that another day. One of the things we do other days when we're less jammed up is we run little ads to tell you what we're up to here at The Rebel. And I haven't run a lot of those this week. We just haven't had the time. But we have our first documentary that we made here at The Rebel. It's actually when we went to Iraq last year. in July. Don't go to Iraq in July. Don't go to Iraq at all if you can help it. And if you go, don't go in July. It was 43 degrees Celsius. What's that, like 190 Fahrenheit or something? It was hot. I'll stop complaining about the heat because much more horrific things were happening than that. We were there to document the genocide perpetrated against Christians by the Islamic State. I already talked about rape, slavery. So we made a documentary out of our video. It's called SaveTheChristians.com, and here's a little trailer about that movie.
صراحة صار الضرب الصبح الفجر فاحنا ما قدرنا نطلع يعني.
هي مستوى خازق كنيسة.
يعني قالوا تأسلمون يعني يشترون الإسلام. لا. بيشن بابو ألا أول رحم الله.
Yeah, that's out now. So you can watch that online, video on demand, or you can get a DVD for your old school. I think that's relevant a little bit. We interviewed Christians who had been driven out of Christian towns that had been there for 1,400 years. I mean, they still pray in Aramaic. That's the ancient language that Jesus spoke. It's 12:52. I was just thinking more about Tommy and the Sikhs. And the other day I mentioned that when I first met Tommy, he was accompanied by his childhood friend who happens to be black. Tommy's a Philo-Semite, I can testify from personal observation. And Tommy loves the Sikhs partly because of his friendship with Mohan Singh, but he's studied Sikhism and like I said, Tommy is no dummy. I wouldn't want to go head to head with Tommy on any subject that he professes to be an expert on. Islam, Luton, rape gangs, Sikhism, politics. Don't think that because a guy has a working class accent that he's dumb. That is the snobbery of the 5P professionals. That's the snobbery of Piers Morgan. I think Piers knows Tommy's smart. I want to show you a short video. Do you have that Sikh video I just sent you? This is one of the shortest videos Tommy ever did for The Rebel. I think it's only 90 seconds. But it was perfect. And let me just show it to you. Take a look.
So we're in Birmingham, where we've come to this temple where they're having a little demonstration to get together to show that Sikhs stand against what happened in Manchester. So many times the Sikh community are wrongly identified as problematic by uneducated people. So across the country, Sikhs, I've spent the last 6-7 years forming relationships with Sikhs across the country, and we couldn't ask, and no one could ask for a better minority group, a more loyal, a more patriotic, a more hard-working group of people. So the fact that after September 11th, Sikhs were killed, after the Lee Rigby killing, a Sikh was murdered in a horrific attack in response to it. So by morons. So yeah, I think if I've got any sort of platform, I want to show the great side of the Sikh community where they stand on all of these issues. They've been fighting against Islamic extremism throughout their whole history of their religion, of their community.
We're doing a vigil here in solidarity with Manchester. We've got a great banner outside that says the Sikhs stand with those who lost their lives in Manchester.
Although it's left to our platforms to educate people.
Definitely.
I think the BBC should be educating them. I think everyone in this country should know everyone should know the sacrifices the Sikh community made throughout history, yeah, for Britain as well, from the First World War, Second World War, and I think they should know now the contributions that they make into our country. Because I know, I've looked into Sikhism so much. I've spent a lot of time over the years meeting with groups, organisations, and I just want people that follow me to understand exactly what I do.
How do you not love that guy? I want to tell you a story. Let me check if I got time. 12:55. So, I was in the UK. I don't know. Maybe it was late last year, and we were driving up. I think we were driving up to go see Fletcher in Sunderland. That was the shopkeeper who said, "Don't support terror. Shop at Fletcher's." And the cops told him to take that down because that was inciting racial tension. Anyway, so we were driving up to Sunderland. That's not a quick drive, and so Kev Carroll was the driver. That's Tommy's cousin. And I'm in the back, and Tommy's like it was a big van kind of thing, and so Tommy was there, and I was behind. So we're driving up on the highway. It's a long drive, and this car pulls up beside, and I think Tommy's in front of me or something. Tommy's in the front, and I'm behind Tommy. And they pull up beside, and they look, and they start waving, and rolling down their windows, and we're going at highway speeds. We're going 60 miles an hour. We're going 100 kilometers an hour on the highway. We're going from Luton up to Sunderland fast. And this car pulls up, and they were waving. I was thinking, well, do they hate Tommy? No. They wanted to take a picture that they saw the Tommy Robinson. It was a selfie at 60 miles an hour, except it wasn't a selfie because they were just taking the picture from their car to our car and waving, hey Tommy, and snapping pictures, this Sikh family. And I didn't, because when you're on the road with Tommy, you got to be a little careful. When you stop for gas, people recognize them, and if they either come up and say, oi mate, keep it up, or if they're Muslim and they detect Tommy, sometimes they come up to sort of pick a fight. I've seen that. So this family starts waving, and think, oh, what's going on? It's a Sikh family that was so excited to see Tommy, it was like they were seeing a rock star. And even though they couldn't get into the selfie because we're going at a highway speed, they wanted to take a photo. We saw Tommy Robinson on the highway. What do you think of that story? That's a true story. It's 12:57. We only have 3 minutes left. Have I missed any of the super chats? No. All right. Well, let me take a few non-super chat questions. I see here Saturday, June 9th, a protest at Whitehall, March for Tommy Robinson. Okay, I'm going to check that out because I want to. If there's a critical mass, I want to know, and we can, retweet that or whatever. But I just like and I think it's great that people want to have Tommy Robinson protests everywhere. But I want them to be successful and concentrated, and are they organized? And I don't want them to be hijacked by agents, provocateurs on the left. And this is one of the things I would argue with Tommy about. I'd say, look, don't have outdoors events. Do an event indoors where you have a ticket and you have security. You do an outdoors event, and you know what? Some Antifa is going to come, and he's going to be a false flag troublemaker. He's going to come pretending to be a drunk soccer hooligan and shout some neo-Nazi thing, even though he's a leftist, to get all the cameras on him. And you could have 5,000 peaceful Tommy supporters and a few agents provocateurs from the left smear the whole thing. So I was always saying to Tommy, don't have public events outside. They're too risky. The police might not cooperate. Antifa can come smash the place up. It was one of the disagreements between us. I was always more cautious about the risk, the physical risk or the legal risk. But Tommy's a man of the streets. When, I remember when we said goodbye, I said, would you want the studio? We built a studio in Luton. He said, well, yeah, I'll use it from time to time, but the action's on the streets, mate. Yeah, it's true. It's true. He has a different tolerance for those risks than I do. Let me read one more. Let's see. Oh, we got one more minute. Lauren Southern spent the mask. Andrea Hetherington, yes, and Dr. Bill Warner is great too. Okay, I don't know what that means. Anyhow, I'm sorry. There's just a lot here. Ezra, I'm a paying member of Rebel Media. Katie Hopkins needs to apologize for calling Tommy Robinson an idiot and dumb. This needs to be corrected. Okay, I'll have to watch that video again. I presume that was on Tucker Carlson, because I don't think she said that on her video for us. Look, we have a variety of opinions here at The Rebel. I don't agree with that. I don't even have the chance to literally watch everything. We put, 10, 15 videos up a day at The Rebel, plus I do 2 hours a day myself. I just literally do not have time to watch everything. I trust the judgment of our editors. And I think it's a legitimate opinion to criticize Tommy. I disagree with it, and as you can detect, I'm a Tommy defender, not just rhetorically, but in the past with action. And I would like to help him in this case, but I do not have the authority to do that. So if you disagree with Katie Hopkins, you can tell her, you can rebut her, but we're not gonna force people at the Rebel to toe the line, especially when they're on other networks. That's just not our place. It's 1 o'clock. Let me conclude by telling you what we talked about earlier in case you just joined us now. Watch this video, rewind it. I showed you 7 clips from other citizen journalists doing everything Tommy Robinson did and more, and further, and rougher, and less carefully. With police watching, not one of them was detained, arrested, let alone convicted, sentenced, let alone put away for 13 months. I put it to you that the treatment of Tommy Robinson was not legally valid, was not procedurally valid, was disproportionate, and when you contrast it to other people doing the exact same thing, including the outstanding Mohan Singh, I think you'll agree with me that justice was not served. It's 1:01. Thank you for joining me. For those of you in the Toronto area, I hope to see you tomorrow at the Rebel Live at the Canada Christian College. We'll be back on Monday with more of these noon hour battlegrounds, and of course every weeknight at 8 p.m. on the Ezra Levant Show. Until then, on behalf of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, good night, and keep fighting for freedom.